The fact is that judgment is guaranteed when you start to step off the beaten path. As a business coach and as a business owner myself, there have been so many times in my life where I have felt the fear, I have felt the judgment, but I've decided to do it anyway. From the moment we are born, we are being judged. When you start to show sides of you that other people have no idea about, what happens is other people project their fears and their doubt onto you. People fear failure, they fear success, and they fear judgment. And these are the three things that get in the way of people actually creating the life that... Welcome to Rich and Regulated, where women learn to build wealth in alignment and flow. I'm Jessica Soul. For over a decade, I've helped women create the lives of their dreams, and here I'll share how I build wealth, fast-track results, and reveal money truths that will blow your mind. Let's get wealthy. Hello, and welcome to today's episode. I'm super excited to talk about this topic because it is something that comes up with my clients so often. It's absolutely ridiculous, and that is the topic around judgment. What I want to start by saying is that nobody doing better than you will ever judge you. And this is so important for you to understand. Whether you are a business owner or whether you are somebody who is looking to make investment decisions for your family, the fact is that judgment is guaranteed when you start to step off the beaten path and when you start to do things that are not so normal in today's society. Now, as a business coach and as a business owner myself, there have been so many times in my life where I have felt the fear, I have felt the judgment, but I've decided to do it anyway. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story and then get into today's topic. But 5 years ago, I was going through a pretty difficult season of my life and I was dealing with divorce and there was lots of things going on. And at the same time, I had a business to run. I had 2 children under the age of 8. I was providing for them single-handedly and I had absolutely no choice but to show up online regardless. And at that time of my life, there was a lot of heartbreak and there was a lot of things happening that made it extremely difficult for me to show up. And one of the biggest things that I had to decide and that I had to move through was that decision to completely erase any kind of feelings around judgment that I knew were around me, right? And I say this to my clients all the time. From the moment we are born, we are being judged. And I've just recently had my 3rd child. And literally, if you've had a baby, you know this. The minute they're born, it's like, do they have 5 fingers? How much do they weigh? What's their length? What color eyes do they have? All of these things, even though you may not see that as judgment when you're little, we're being judged from the minute we're freaking born. And so as adults, to think that we would stop doing things that we love, we would stop speaking our truth, that we would cease to share on social media, cease to do things that are in alignment with our truth and in alignment with our deepest path on this earth is so insane. But the thing is that people fear failure, they fear success, and they fear judgment. And these are the 3 things that get in the way of people actually creating the life that they deeply want. And so a little story around another part of my journey. And I know for many of you, you are probably here because of what I'm doing right now in the crypto and blockchain space. But 2.5, 3 years ago, I lent in to this deep curiosity around Web3, around building my wealth outside of what I knew to be a traditional way. And I started getting some really good success. I could feel that I'm not a gatekeeper, by the way. So I could feel that there was this deep desire for me to share what I was doing with my audience. So I've had my online presence for 13 years now. And over that time, I have pivoted time and time again. I mean, when I first started my Instagram account when my daughter was born, which was 13 years ago, I was teaching women how to lose weight after having babies. And since then, I have pivoted through network marketing careers. I've pivoted to being a business coach. And then a couple of years ago, I decided to go and pivot again. And so I started to share things with my audience that they weren't really used to. And again, the success that I have had in the last 3 years in that space has been absolutely insane. But it didn't come without a lot of fear from my part of what the people around me were going to think. And so, of course, when I, as a business coach and as a mum, decided I was going to start letting people into this side of my business, letting people know that I was purchasing cryptocurrency and working in the blockchain, I knew that I was going to be faced with judgment. I knew there was going to be a lot of criticism and opinions that would very likely fly around about why Jess was doing what she was doing. And a lot of this comes down to people just genuinely thinking they know you without really knowing you. And this is something that I have found in the online space, is that when you start to show sides of you that other people have no idea about, what happens is other people project their fears and their doubt onto you. And to this day, I can tell you that regardless of how much success I create, regardless of how freaking fantastic my life is, there is judgment that I always feel lingering around me that could so easily have the potential to hinder my journey. But the fact is, something I have become so good at over time is just being stronger than all of the judgment, all of the hate, even the assumption that people are talking about me when, you know what, the truth is they probably don't really care at all about what I'm doing. Just quickly, guys, if you're a woman who's earning well but still feels like your money isn't working for you, I can help. My Build Your Wealth portal is the perfect place to begin, and for less than $100 a month, I'll teach you the exact groundwork that has allowed me to create freedom for my family. Just hit the link in the show notes to connect into my community today. Now back to the episode. So over the last 13 years, I've grown so much stronger, and I know for a fact that I've become more magnetic in my business the more aligned I become. And the reality is that judgment is never, ever going to come from people living in true alignment with their own values. It really often only comes from people who are scared to take risks, from people who are not free, from people who are not brave, from people who don't have the courage. And I don't know about you, but the more success I have felt and created in my own life, the less I care about what other people are doing. And typically I'm just celebrating when I see somebody else step into a new pivot in business or launch a new brand or do something for themselves. I am literally in the energy of celebration, because success is a magnetic part of what I share online. And so what I want you to understand is that if you're a business owner, or if you're somebody starting a business or deciding to speak online, just know that there are going to be people in your life that you will care about their opinion more than anything. And I'm going to give you this little, I suppose, like tool that I use with all of my clients. Hopefully this is something that will literally change the game for you. I had a client years and years ago, and she said to me, look, it's just, I really, really care about what the people around me think. And I just don't want them to judge me. And I'm not going to show up online and like fully speak my truth because, you know, it's just, what if these people judge me? And on one of our coaching sessions, I asked her, I said, can you tell me who these people are? Like, talk to me about the people you're fearing judge you. It was, to be honest, it was at the time, it wasn't that I was surprised as to what the answer was, but at the same time, it was a fairly surprising answer. And her answer was, it's my mum, it's my dad, it's my sister, it's my best friend. Now, the funny part to that is that these are the people that we assume love us the most. These are the people that naturally we would think would be cheering us on from the sidelines. If you're relating to this in any way, shape, or form, I can tell you, you've got two options when it comes to dealing with this problem for yourself. You're either going to need to block them on your social media so that they cannot get in the way of your success, or you're going to need to have a conversation with them. And I highly encourage this with the people around you that you love. Because if the people who love you the most are the ones you are fearing judge you the most, it doesn't quite correlate, right? And I know that for so many parts of my journey, I have had this deep desire for my parents or, you know, one of my siblings or one of my best friends to cheer me on and to, you know, to say, oh my God, Jess, like you're doing an amazing job. But the truth is that if I'm looking for validation from my family members or the ones that love me, I'm missing the point of what business ownership is really about. And particularly as a coach, if you're in business ownership, you are going to be judged. You are going to trigger people if you desire success. And the reflection of maybe their fear or their smallness is not something that I would encourage you to allow to minimize or diminish your message online. So one of the things that I love to talk to my clients about, and I really want to share with you today, is that courage is literally you living in alignment with your values and your vision despite the noise. And for me, what I have decided to do, and like write this down and decide for yourself to do this in your own life and in your own business, is be the permission slip. Be the permission slip for others to live in alignment as well. Because while I know that over the years, there have been so many times when I have triggered people around me by loudly claiming my income, by loudly speaking about my sovereignty, my wealth, the legacy that I'm creating, by screaming my vision, to the edges of the earth. Yes, there are times where I have triggered the people that love me the most. Yes, there are times when I have felt that the love that I had wanted back for speaking that truth hadn't come through. But what I know is that at the end of the day, choosing alignment means that you hold your business decisions and your pivots gracefully. You trust your vision more than you trust the opinions of others. And when you choose to lead, even when you are understood, you become so much more magnetic because that energy is deeply felt within your business. So what matters most is where you're heading, and your audience, even if you don't believe it, really want to know where you're heading, and your audience will always appreciate it if you decide not to gatekeep. So it's more important for you to be in alignment with your vision and your message than to give focus to the people who are committed, regardless of what you think, to misunderstanding you. And when your vision is that clear, the judgment will never dictate your next move. So I want to give you a reframe. And this is something that I think about all the time, is that the more authentic I become, the more magnetic I become to the right people. And the more I repel the wrong people, which in fact accelerates my business results. I had an example of this the other day where I had said something that I absolutely knew was going to trigger people. And I literally lost probably 40 followers that same day as writing that trigger onto the internet. But at the same time, the amount of people in my DMs going, yes, this is what we need to hear. This is what we love about you, is your truth, is your alignment. This is how we actually collapse time in business, because when we are authentic, we magnetize the right clients into our business. And so it's about the people who are recognizing themselves in your truth, because if you are dumbing down your message, then people will not be able to recognize where they want to go. They will not see you as that permission slip. And so my encouragement to you is that if you are right now looking to pivot, if you're feeling this, lean towards a transition in your business, if you're like on the precipice of something new, understand that this is our life's journey. And with that, we are going to be judged, regardless of what we want, regardless of what we think is safe. We will be judged. But in my mind, what sticks with me and what keeps me feeling really, really confident in my message is that the only people judging me are the ones that are very likely doing less than me. So I would love to ask you this question. Where would you be shifting towards in your messaging if you truly didn't care what anyone thought? What I know is, funnily enough, the courage to be disliked has made me more money than being liked ever will. If you've gotten value from today's episode, make sure you subscribe and leave a 5-star review. And if you're ready for more support in building regulated wealth strategies, check out the link in the show notes. Have a beautiful day.